Podcast is really just to chronicle my journey as a 22-year-old college student um, into the world of aggressive inline skating, and I would just kind of like to share with other people out there what it's like to start off like on like just basic soul grinds and Soultrix and front side, back side, and progress through and hopefully get to where I can do more advanced tricks like alley oops, true spins, top souls, etc. So I've got my coffee here, I've got my notes, and I've got a set of rollerblades ready to go here for a night skate here after I'm done. And let's get started. My athletic background was in track growing up. I was pretty competitive. I got to state a couple times, once for cross country, once for track, and just really excelled as far as I could into that sport. But I was always having run-ins with injuries. Not like acute injuries like twisting your ankle or anything, but like long-term kind of chronic injuries like stress fractures and tendonitis and stuff like that. So I basically only ever ran. I never did any other sports. Hardly, I mean, I did like a little stint with basketball and a little bit with like some weightlifting there in high school, but nothing serious. So basically, if you think about this, I'm only moving in one plane of movement, and actually even half of a plane of movement. If you think about that biomechanically, there are three planes of movement that you can move: forward, sagittal, sideways, that's frontal, and twisting, that's transverse. So I basically only used 1/3, like 1/6 of my body's ability to move, and so that was the athleticism I developed. I only ever thought that was what athletics was. That's what it was to be strong, was just to be able to be faster or something of that nature. I don't know. I really didn't have a good concept of athleticism at that point, or of movement. I just kind of just did it. So yeah, I got pretty good. Ran like 4:34 in the mile, 4:02, 4:03-ish in the 1500. Ran 10 miles in under an hour. So I was pretty competitive, but like I said, injuries. I even went to college for 1 year up in Illinois for it, and that was an experience, not necessarily the most positive experience, but I grew from it and came back home to Florida, where my parents live, and decided I had other priorities. Sorry, that's my notes or my pen clicking. If you hear that. So, yeah. So I came back and decided that I needed to find another type of path for this whole college direction. So I took a year off and I decided to work out in Colorado for the YMCA of the Rockies. And interestingly enough, they have a roller rink out there in the middle of the mountains, and so I was pretty early on in my college experience kind of exposed to this just world of roller skating, just kind of the basics. I would see people crossing over and I'd be like kind of understanding it, but I really didn't get the point of it. I thought, yeah, I'll get some rollerblades someday, stay in shape, especially during the winters, because the winters are long in Colorado. So eventually I did pick up a set of blades after my parents visited for Thanksgiving. Sorry, I just heard a sound. And my dad was actually better at roller skating than I was, and I was like, no way, that can't happen. So, you know, like, my dad's like 60 something at this time, and so, and I'm like 20 something, and he's doing crossovers and looking all smooth, and I'm still kind of like hard turning, and I don't know what you call it, just carving around, kind of just stepping, clip-clopping around. And so I decide, like, okay, I gotta get a set of rollerblades. So I get a set of K2 Midtowns, just what I could afford. And I didn't really know anything about rollerblading or like free skating or aggressive inline or speed skating or anything like that. I just decided to get a set and kind of practice and learn how to cross over, and learn. Eventually I learned how to go backwards with the blades and start turning around and stuff like that. So eventually, like, going around in circles around this roller skate rink got a little boring, and I wasn't running a whole bunch. I'd initially gone out to Colorado to do more cross-country skiing, because that was just the type of athleticism I was used to. I was tired of running, and I wanted to look for a new sport, and just finally get serious about something else. Kind of move on with my athletic career there. And so, what I was, sorry, got sidetracked there. What I was exposed to was like roller skating and eventually ice skating, because it's Colorado and there's winter, and I figured, like, yeah, because of the long winters and stuff, I would just go cross country skiing or roller skate or something. I don't know really what the plan was. So I got bored with skating around in circles, and at this point I'm also ice skating a bit, so I'm getting to like learn a little bit about hockey. You know, shout out to Sherwood. I like your hockey sticks. The 50-30 was my favorite hockey stick that we would mess around with. We just hit the puck around and, you know, knock it up against the boards and stuff like that. So nothing too serious there. I learned how to hockey stop. I'd also watch like freestyle ice skating videos on YouTube, and that would be like a huge inspiration for me to like keep learning tricks. I tried to learn grapevine out there. I wasn't super successful. At grapevine on the ice, at least at that point. And so yeah, I still have a love for ice skating. I have a set of Bowers here, right next to me, actually, and I'd love to get into hockey one of these days, but like I said, I live in Florida, and it's not super popular around here, although there is a little bit of a culture because of the Tampa Bay Lightning and stuff like that. So so yeah, I'm rollerblading at this point, and ice skating a bit with my friends, and then my friend kind of introduces me to like the concept of aggressive inline, and at this point I'm kind of learning just basic tricks, like jumping to 180 or trying 360s or salcos or whatever the heck I can find online. And so anything that just would be kind of related to skating, I would do. And I would watch like Shop Task YYC's videos, like by Sean Unwin. I'd watch like mushroom blading. Let me think. What else did I watch? I watched like Hoax 2, commentaries by the mushroom blading guys, Leon Basin, just stuff that like I thought like was just mind blowing for me at the time. And so the more I got into this, the more I thought like, okay, I gotta do this at a skate park someday. So come about January, this is I've been doing this for like 3 months now, and so about January, I decide like, okay, I'm gonna go home and visit my folks down in Florida, and so I come home and I visit the local skate park, and I drop in on my first like quarter pipe, and I immediately just die. I can't describe it any other way. It was more, I don't know, just inexperience and not really understanding what the physics of it all were at the time. It looked really easy on YouTube, and so I decided to try it in the half pipe and the quarter pipe and the bowl, or the half bowl that they had, and it was just not happening for me. So what I eventually did, that little like week I was there, I just had my brother drop me off at the skate park and just leave me there with like a gallon of water, and it was super hot that day. I like stayed there for like 3 hours and just practiced and practiced and practiced how to drop in, and I'd carve around a little bit and then I'd drop in again, and you know, eventually I kind of got it, you know. It wasn't so, didn't feel as sketchy. I mean, I was still really scared of it because I was in like 80mm wheels at this point. Like I said, K2 Midtowns, not the greatest skate ever to learn aggressive in, but not a bad skate either. Obviously at this point I'd taken off the brakes, and I'd been learning like slides and a few shuffles just to add to my repertoire in the roller rink. So the ice skating, I think, helped that quite a bit. So so I was home and I was doing drop-ins. Then time came for me to go back to Colorado, and I even had another staff member comment on how like easy I was skating on the ice, even after a week of supposedly not being on the ice. But I'd been skating the whole time back at my place. So I learned how to drop in back in Florida, and then I took those skills back to Colorado. I actually went to the Denver skate park and the Winter Park skate park and would drop in on those bowls there, and that was a ton of fun. That was like the best learning experience ever. I think there was a time when I was just like really learning everything that there was to drop in, and I couldn't jump in just yet, like jump to drop in, and I couldn't bomb in, but I could definitely like just at least get the basics of carving at this point. No grinds, a few 360s here and there, and some 180s off of stuff, but that's about it. Then after that I took a job in South Dakota for a little bit, and they had some really cool skate parks in the South Dakota, North Dakota area, and I just developed a little bit there. Just over the summer I didn't get a ton of time to skate, but nonetheless enjoyed what little skating I could do. And there's a lot of like graffitied up parks out there. It's really neat. So that kind of brings us to the most recent era of my skating, which has been like this last fall to now, which has been in the fall. I was mostly practicing a lot of stalls with big wheels and with small wheels, and a lot of like just practice kind of getting comfortable around rails, and eventually taking that to learning the basic grinds. I think the first grind I ever did well was a front side, and then after that backsides. Then now it's kind of like macchios are getting more comfortable, and I'm getting a little bit more comfortable doing some soul grinds. I've tried acids, I've tried Mizzous, and I've tried porn stars, and I'm starting to get the hang of them.